The creative economy is taking a little bit of a hit right now. A lot of big companies are letting go of people. Really talented people are losing their jobs, and they are flooding the market looking for new jobs. And so what can you do if you're new to the industry, or if you're newly let go and you're looking for a new gig? What can you do to stand out and actually shine and land that next job? Well, you can interview well. And so in this video, I want to share with you a few tips that will help you crush that design interview and land that job. All right, first things first, you need to prepare yourself for your interview. You can't go in there all willy-nilly, just shooting from the hip, hoping for the best. This is not a time for you to ad-lib. This is a time for you to practice and prepare. And the first thing you need to prepare is the work that you're gonna bring in to showcase and talk through. That's right, you have to not only show it, but you have to be able to talk through it. And so first of all, you need to prepare, in my opinion, 3 pieces of work. One very large case study that covers a pretty large swath of work. And so maybe that's someplace you've been for a while, or you've done some concept work or some client work, and you're gonna put in there lots of different stuff, lots of areas that you've had to actually interact with. Maybe it's the brand or some marketing materials, the website, just a large case study about a client or a project that you had a lot of interaction with. And then you need to put in 2 very specific case studies that have to do with specific flows or pages or problems that you've solved. The reason I like this formula of 1 big case study and 2 specific problems that you've solved is because it gives the big 10,000-foot view of what you're capable of, and then also drills down, it zooms in and shows how you can actually solve individual problems. And that gets people thinking. They're thinking, man, we got some problems like that around here this person could solve, but we also got a lot of big general stuff. We'd love somebody who could stay the course and do good work for a long period of time. And that's what you're showing with this combination of work. Not only do you have to prepare those pieces of work, but you also have to prepare yourself to talk through the work. And so here's some do's and some don'ts of talking through your work. Do focus on specific problems and how you solve them. That's always a good thing for you to say, this was a problem, here's how we found that problem, here's how we solved that problem, and here is my process that's defined in solving problems like that. Do speak of methods, tools, and things that you've learned and grown in to help you solve said problems. Do that. It's a good idea. Do talk positively about your previous team and interactions and experiences and company. Talk positive about your art directors, creative directors, managers, and stakeholders. Talk positive about them, because nobody wants to take on a negative Nancy that's got a stick up their nose. Do not speak about visuals and visuals alone. Don't talk about how you like the color pink and how you chose the color orange for that button. Don't talk about how you like to add textures to websites. That's not what people are hiring you for, even if that's what they're hiring you for. At the end of the day, design is a vehicle for you to provide value and increase revenue and traffic and leads and increase the business as a whole. Nobody wants to hire an artist to sit around and paint soup cans all day. They want to hire a designer that can help them solve problems using the vehicle of design. And lastly, you've already heard me say this, but don't be unprepared. Don't go in there not knowing what you're going to say. Prepare yourself, be ready, be confident, and be excited. All right, next up, always be speaking about value. Whether you're talking about your work, showcasing what you've learned, or what you can bring to the table, always be talking about value, not about visuals, not about experiences, not about tools, but as much as you possibly can, always be integrating value-based concepts into what you're speaking about. Here's what I mean. Don't talk about how you like making websites. Don't talk about colors. Don't talk about Figma. Don't talk about these things. Talk about value-based items. That means how design systems have helped you and your previous teams speed up the productivity of work and get things to launch and market faster. Talk about how you've increased leads and traffic. Talk about how your research tactics. Talk about the ways in which you conduct research that leads you to a better understanding of the user, which allows you to do away with old features that have nothing to do with the user, but instead actually serve your users' pain points, therefore increasing revenue and interest and leads and traffic. So when they ask you about your workflow, make sure you're talking about value. When they ask you about your portfolio, make sure it says the type of value that you brought to the project. When they ask ask you about your skill sets and what you're talented in. Make sure that you're backing it up by speaking about the type of value that that skill set and those things you're good at actually bring to the table. All right, so far you've prepared your work, you've prepared yourself to talk through your work, and you are prepared to talk about value throughout all of that. The next step is to film yourself doing this. I know, it sounds awful, it's cringeworthy, and you're gonna vomit when you watch yourself back. But here's a little tactic that I learned a long time ago that's helped me to get better at talking to the camera, to you, and to other people. Film yourself talking through the projects that we've already discussed, and then after you're done filming it, watch it back 3 times. I know, you're gonna watch it back, it's gonna be absolutely cringeworthy, you're gonna hate every minute of it, but it's gonna help you grow. The first time you watch it back, you will watch it with no audio, visuals only. Why? So you can see all the little awkward things that you do. Like you bite your nails and don't look at people in the eye and you're constantly like, what do I do with my hands? You do strange things, you're trying to identify what those things are so that you interview well, so that you seem confident and comfortable. Watch it back 1 time with no audio. The second time you watch it back, I want it to be audio only. Don't watch it, listen to yourself. And what you're listening for are filler words like but, and, whatever it is that you fill in a lot, address those filler words as well as other awkward ways that you kind of speak about things. Why don't you sound confident about that thing? Why did you kind of blubber about this other thing? Do you go off on goat trails and forget everything you're talking about and just start talking about random things? Listen to yourself, learn, and then correct those things. And then lastly, watch it a 3rd time so you're being diligent, putting it all together and improving. Next thing you should do before you go into this interview is prepare a list of questions that you need to ask them. Just because it's an interview doesn't mean you're the only one getting interviewed. It is a good sign if you are already prepared to interview them back. Here's some questions that I would be prepared to ask in an interview. What kind of communication channels are set up so that teams work successfully here? What kind of workflows and processes maybe struggle a little bit that I could help with? What skill sets do I have that could help this team to function and do better in general? What does success look like in the position that I'm applying for? How can I excel and bring tons of value to the company? You ask questions like that and they'll think you're very serious about what you're talking about and ready to bring some serious value to that team. Lastly, a great thing to do before you walk into that interview is to research that company and already have a good idea of their history, where they've come from, where they are, and where they're going. Be ready to talk about things that you love about the company and things that they've changed recently. Also, be ready to make a suggestion about some low-hanging fruit that you feel like you could be a part of improving. And lastly, a fun little historical fact would be great, like knowing who the founder is and what year they actually started the company. That tells them that you're already invested. You're already all in. Well, that's it. Those are just a few of my favorite tips for crushing design interviews and landing your next job. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. I do lots of videos about design and development and career, just like this one. So make sure you ring that bell so you know when more videos like this one come out. If you have any questions, leave those down in the comments and check the description for some helpful links to prepare you for your interviews and maybe even some great job boards to help you find your next great job. I hope you're having an amazing week. I hope you're designing amazing things. Hope you're making amazing things. And I hope that you land the job of your dreams. Talk to you soon.